everyone. I hope there is no difficulty in hearing me. I am currently stuck in the airport, but I wanted to make sure I came in and narrated my presentation for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. My presentation, here we go. My name is Shade Brown. So my first one is Coming to America. So the theme I had going into this was that I wanted to take themes we've talked about last week, like the main tenets that we came away with in Black Utopia, and find different examples that tackle that, but in a different way. So I found that Coming to America interpreted Black royalty and journey and transformation in slightly different ways than we've looked at already. You see then royalty different than in Of One Blood and different than in Black Panther. For one, you see Eddie Murphy's character is going from Africa to America. He views America as the land of opportunity where utopias may be possible. Also, we see that the question of reproduction comes up as well because he's trying to acquire a wife. And you see the assertion of a certain black male royalty, a certain black male masculinity. That's in some ways similar to what we see in Black Panther and Of One Blood. Yeah, and so moving on, I have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So similar to Black Panther in that it's based on a comic book character, superhero figure like, but different in that the construction of utopia I found in Black Panther was much larger, broader question of diasporic conflict of being insular versus being more outward. This one, because the rest of his environment of the protagonist Miles Morales is realistic. It's not so fantastical as Black Panther was. The questions that it raises are much more. I don't know if tangible is the right word, but they're easier to conceptualize or easier to tackle, I guess, in some ways. So one thing I found in this film was the link that the film starts between patrilineal, having a strong relationship with your father, other male figures in your genealogy, and in the formation of the protagonist's masculinity. And that masculinity is shown to help him transform into Spider-Man. So we also see that transformation, and Coming to America, saw the transformation through the journey. He comes to America. So in this one, you really see the development of a complete alternate persona, enhanced abilities, things of that nature. Then you have American Promise. This is a song by Erykah Badu. Came out in 2008. Though the style really evokes 70s funk, I find. So she's kind of calling back to that time period in the vein of films like Shaft, if you will. And she's kind of presenting a duality here. She's presenting the utopia in the main lyrics of the song, but listening more closely, this dystopia appears. So she says it's the American dream. She stylizes it with a K and a Y. Everyone has it. Come and get you one. And it's style. It's written in a call and response. So in the response, in the response, you see that the people are being taken advantage of in physically, and their morals and integrity are being corrupted. But they are lured in by the seduction of the American dream, if you will. And so in her world, America doesn't really serve Black people, and it seems so great, but under closer inspection, it is totally fraudulent. But I just thought it was a good representation of in song the relationship between dystopia and utopia, and how that could be flipped on its head so quickly and so easily. Lastly, I have lines of power. We, in some strings, power is employed and move on a rigorous line. So Samuel Delany is a really important black author in terms of sci-fi and questions of utopia, futurism, things like that. And so Lines of Power is a chapter in GIF class, and this expounds upon in Underground Railroad and Valentine when they are debating on how to move forward, and there's not one agenda, there isn't complete agreement. And so basically, in this, you have two societies that are two completely different ideologies, and they are trying to reconcile them. I guess they are in conflict, but I think he's kind of getting at larger questions of, you know, what is not a utopia, what will actually work, what will not work. And so I have one last one. Oh, I thought that was my last one. Random Acts of Flyiness. So this TV show, it's like structured in small vignettes. It's different forms. So some of it's live action, some of it's claymation, some of it's animated, and so and it's not totally realist either. It's a little absurd, and so this show constructs Black Utopia as not really changing of the outside world, but and the shifting of how we think about our feelings and how we tackle larger problems of racism, sexism, etc. in the Black community. And so, like in this particular scene, her hair is personified and it like jumps off her head, and like they're having this dialogue, and that's kind of how she moves. They move through the world, and like that's how she, I guess, grapples with the acceptance or non-acceptance of her natural hair and like the political ramifications of that. Um, yeah, and I have one bonus one. Sam Cooke's A Change Is Gonna Come. I included this because um, I think it touches on something we've seen in that um, maybe one of the unique things about Black utopia is that they are often thought about or visions of it are often constructed in the complete dystopia-like moments. So this is, sung in the midst of 1960s, 19 midst of the civil rights movement, and you know he's urging and trying to create this vision and assert this, what will be hereafter, and kind of creating this, giving voice to the sense of yearning and longing of a better state for African Americans in the United States. I think it was an important cultural moment also, which speaks to its appeal. And don't know why that's coming up, sorry. Which speaks to its appeal. And yeah. Oh, okay, I'm at 8 minutes. I'm going to cut it now. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Bye.